Janice from Paris Unraveled, live to you from my phone because I keep trying to record this video on my super high-speed fiber optic Wi-Fi, and for some reason it's not cooperating. So we're gonna do this on my phone, and today I want to talk to you about what to do if you're a student or you're on APS and you're having a little bit of trouble finding a job. And I'm going to talk to you about why starting a business and getting one of the freelancer visas like either Profession Liberale or Commerçant might be a great way to go about staying in France long term. So if you're thinking, if you're on a student visa or you've got an APS visa but you haven't found a job yet, you haven't found a salaried position to sponsor you, it can get a little scary, right? Especially as you get close to sort of the end of your visa being valid and you need to be able to renew. It can start getting a little worrisome because if you don't find anything by the end of your APS, then you have to go back home, which most people, by the time they've done a little bit of studying in France, don't actually want to do. And, even if you're not on APS, an APS, if you're not familiar, it's called autorisation provisoire de séjour, and you become eligible for that after you do 2 years of higher study in a French university that ends in a degree. So normally a 2-year master's program that allows you to earn a master's degree. And if you don't do a master's program, then you're not eligible for APS. So the benefit of APS is that it makes it slightly easier for a company to sponsor you, in that they don't have to prove they tried to hire a French person. Now, if you're on a student visa for any other kind of studies, so if you're like an au pair, or if you're doing language studies, or you do part of a licence or part of a master's but you don't want to continue your degree, then you're not eligible for APS, and that means that a company wanting to hire you would have to sponsor you like they would any foreigner. And even if you are on APS, then a lot of times it can still be difficult to find permanent employment because the company has to hire you within a year of you finishing your degree. They don't have to prove they tried to hire a French person, but they do have to pay a tax of 55% of 1 month's salary to OFI. And they have to submit your contract to direct and prove that the job pays at least 1.5 times minimum wage and that it's in your field. And so even if you do manage to find somebody to hire you, direct can still say no because it's not close enough, your job isn't close enough to your field of study. So if you're like me and you did a master's degree in anthropology and ethnology, or worse, in folk tales, which was one of my master's degrees, then you could be a little hard pressed to find a salaried position that meets the requirements for getting APS. So it can still be a little bit challenging. So it can be really difficult, even if you're on a regular student visa and just doing a couple years of language study, it can be very difficult to switch to a salaried job because companies have to prove they tried to hire a European first. Even if you're on APS, there are still all these hurdles that you have to jump through, and you have the time limit of 1 year. In which you have to find something or basically go home. So, you don't have a lot of great options. So in this video, I want to tell you about the option to switch to Profession Liberale or Commerçant for starting a visa, and how picking one of those options actually gives you more control over your situation because it enables you to control who your clients are. Nobody has to sponsor you. It allows you to control your income, and the minimum income requirements for getting your visa are actually lower than they would be with a salaried position. So, So you can switch to Profession Liberale or Commerçant from any visa type. Now, I've talked before about how, if you're on a student visa or a visitor visa, you should make sure to renew those visa types at least once before you try to go switch your status. But once you've renewed your visa once, so you've been in France for more than a year on the same status, you can switch to, well, anything you're eligible for. And so for these Profession Liberale and Commerçant visa types, basically what you need to do is you need to have a business idea, and you need to develop it into a project proposal with a business plan and a financial projection showing who your clients are going to be, what services you're going to provide, or alternatively products that you're going to sell if you're going to be selling something, and how much money you're going to make. So for example, you can do this as a freelance writer, you can do it as a graphic designer. I've done it for photographers and translators and interior designers and an accessories and handbag designer. Any possible skills that you have that can be developed into a business are good. And so you have really a lot of options. And basically what you need to do is you need to sort of go over your skills and come up and put together a project of some kind and find some people who are willing to pay you money for these things and show how you're going to get up to about 1,500 euros per month in income by the end of the first year. Now, you don't have to have a ton of serious credentials. So even if, you've taken a couple years of language classes, maybe you have an undergraduate degree, maybe you don't have a whole ton of professional experience, this is not, for most professions, this is not a super serious, you have to have a master's degree in the field and 5 years of professional experience kind of situation. You do have to show that, you have the skills necessary to be able to actually do the job that you say you're going to do, and that you have people willing to pay you money for the things that you say people are going to want to pay you money for. So, a good example would be a yoga teacher. You should probably have a yoga certification, a yoga teaching certification, if you want to be a yoga teacher. I don't think, as far as I know, yoga teaching isn't a regulated profession in France, but certainly having that certification is going to show that you're capable of teaching yoga. Similarly, I'm not a huge fan of direct sales and multi-level marketing schemes, but, if you work for one of those that operates in France, like, I had a friend talking about essential oils with me the other day. If you want to get a Commerçant visa to sell essential oils for one of those companies, there are a couple things you need to know. One is that direct sales representatives are not eligible to be auto-entrepreneur, so you need to be aware of what that means in terms of the financial implications. And the other thing is that it would probably be a good idea to complete some kind of aromatherapy certification. Now again, aromatherapists aren't necessarily a regulated profession in France. Usually, aromatherapists are pharmacists or people in the medical field who have completed a couple of additional classes on aromatherapy, but it's not necessarily something that is super regulated. So, but, having that certification and that background can go a long way towards showing, this is something that you're kind of serious about, and, you have the skills to be able to develop into a business. So that's step number one, is sort of going over your skills and the professional experiences that you have, and sort of seeing if there's anything that really calls to you in terms of something you could make into a business and charge people money to do. Whether that is in France and your clients are primarily going to be people or companies who are in France, or whether that's something you can do virtually, like translation services, freelance writing, web design, graphic design, anything like that. Those services can be done virtually for the most part, and you can have clients from around the world. But you would still have to have some kind of French business set up and French business activity if you're living and working in France, as I've discussed before in these videos. So that's step number one, is figuring out what your business is going to be, and making sure that it's something that's in line with some kind of credential that you have, and you have a serious motivation to be able to do this business. Now, step number two, as I mentioned, is finding some potential clients who are going to hire you to do this service, or to buy this product, or to collaborate with you. If, for example, the example that I cited above, if you're selling essential oils, maybe I don't know, maybe there's a store where you can give a demonstration, or maybe you want to have an atelier, I'm losing the English word, a workshop, where people can make their own scented bath products using the essential oils that you're going to sell to them, things like that. So, who would your collaborators be in that situation? Like, where would you get the other materials? Like, is there a space that you'd be able to use? Would you have to rent it? Things like that. So any kind of aspect of your product or project that needs to be thought out and developed, so that you have, you know what the expenses are going to be, and the space needs, and the materials, and whatever. That's step number two. And step number three is making sure that by the end of the year, you're going to be able to earn about 1,500 euros per month from this project. So that's it. It's a pretty straightforward process. And as I mentioned, I think I've mentioned before, the prefecture actually tends to look at these pretty favorably. If you have a serious plan and you've presented some real numbers, they tend to accept the project first, and then, give you that 1 year to be able to get up to 1,500 euros per month in income. So if you're thinking about starting a business, and you need help coming up with these three aspects of your project, I invite you to check out the French Business Incubator, which I'm starting this week. First module of material is already online, and it helps you through the process of understanding French business types, so you can figure out what the structure of your business is going to be and what the costs and expenses are going to be. And then the second aspect for the complete French Business Incubator also includes the visa setup for how to write the project proposal and financial projections that I talked about. So I actually have to go. My 2.5-year-old is screaming. But if you have any questions, put them on this video, and I will sure to be back and answer them tonight. Thanks. Hey, this is Allison Grant-Lunes. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you learned something about living in France and were inspired about pursuing your own Franceformation. Do you want to learn how you can get the right visa and create your dream life in France? Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and to the Profiles in Franceformation podcast for more inspiring stories about people who made their Franceformation a reality, and for more tips and tricks on how to make your Franceformation happen for you. If you want to learn more about what visa is right for you and how to pursue your Franceformation, you can check out my book, Foolproof French Visas, which goes over basically every single way that you can possibly move to France. It's available as an ebook or in paperback on Amazon, and it will help you identify the right visa for you and prepare a successful application. Or if you'd like my personal help with applying for your visa and moving to France, you can go to www.yourfranceformation.com/free-call to request a free 30-minute Franceformation clarity call with me about how I can help you to make your dream a reality and get started on helping you to move to France. Thanks again for watching, and à bientôt.